So now what we're going to do is likewise, we're going to make ASH3 and router 2 to get a flow statistics and export those in version 9 over to server A. So server A is going to be our flow collector. So let's start doing this on the iOS on router 2. So those 3 steps, conf t, and we're going to apply the exporter, let's say on this interface. So we want to monitor all traffic flowing through that interface in there. Or let's say, no, let's say on this interface of gig01. Let's choose gig01 as the interface. So conf t, we say flow exporter. The command makes sense. Let's say test server A, that's our exporter. We say destination 172.16.10.100, transport UDP 9996, and export protocol V5 or V9. We're going to use V9, which means we're going to get a statistics based on the version 9 support of statistics. So step number 1 was done. Then we say flow monitor, let's say router 2 monitor, and what do we want to collect? Record Netflow for what? V4 or V6, IPv4, and what statistics do we want to collect about flows going through our router? So I'm going to say original input, which means is like traditional IPv4 input Netflow, which means like traditional whatever version 5 was collected, which means that source destination IP protocol, source destination IP address, TCP, source destination TCP UDP protocol number, marking, and ingress interface. So original input. And then we say, okay, well, I'm going to collect this kind of data, and I'm going to export that data where? At the exporter, which the exporter was named test server A. So now what was done, and the last step is to go on this interface and apply the exporter. So we're going to say interface gig01 IP flow monitor, the name of my monitor, router 2 monitor, and in which direction, input or output. I'm going to say input, let's say. Doesn't make sense to put both of them at the same time, because pretty much whatever is going to be, this command is, of course it depends what you want to monitor, because here this means get a statistics only about incoming traffic on that interface, not about outgoing traffic. So like if this was your border router, you would want to get a statistics about traffic both coming from the internet, so inbound, and traffic going out on the internet, outbound. So verification wise, we say show flow exporter, which means we have defined to export out to server A via UDP 996 version 9 statistics. Show flow monitor router 2 monitor statistics, router 2 monitor, let's say cache. So show me the what I have aggregate IPv4. I should be able to say cache just that. There we go. So it's not displayed in the proper format because the output doesn't fit my size, my login size, let me say session options. And let me change this over to font, let's say 26 temporarily. Let's say disconnect and reconnect. Still not good. Let's say put it to a like 20. Disconnect and reconnect. Still doesn't look in the proper format. Let me disconnect and connect again. Show flow monitor cache table, format table. So if we read this output as it is, which doesn't look too good because I stated it because of the size of the characters, even though it's 20, it still didn't get applied for whatever reason. So we have in here the source address, destination address, source port, destination port, input interface, IP task information, IP protocol information. And we have seen that router 2 on that interface of gig01, it saw traffic from router 1 destined to the multicast address of EIGRP. There is no source and destination ports because it's an IP protocol. Traffic came inbound on gig01. Protocol number was 88. And pretty much that's it. If we're going to go on router 3 and telnet to router 2, we should also see a telnet session in the flow statistics. Let's go on router 3 and telnet to router 2. 136.138.2, or let's say CISCO exit. Let's go on router 2. There we go. Traffic source from router 3, destined to router 2, source port number, the random one, destination 23, telnet. This flow was seen on gigabit 01. It had a marking of 6, that's control plane traffic. And pretty much that's it. If we go on server A and we open up the Netflow collector, let me use Chrome. So in the dashboard, we have some statistics in here already. We saw some NTP and telnet traffic, UDP and TCP. It shows you also how much traffic we've seen with WAD marking, with CS6 from the telnet session. So DHCP value marking of 6, that was a telnet packet in here. How much traffic was sent, what is the percentage level that traffic had based on all that traffic on that interface. What are the top conversations in the last hour? So source IP spoke to that destination IP via NTP, how many bytes? And this source IP has spoken to destination IP via telnet, how many bytes? If you go under the inventory, there we go. We see all devices we receive traffic from router 2. And we see a summary of the traffic from router 2. So you can do a lot of let's say reports in here. So let's say based on the application, for example. We don't see a lot in here based on the application. If we look based on the, let's say, conversation, who has been speaking with who, but the dashboard was better from the output point of view. Yeah, pretty much the dashboard was better from the output point of view rather than the specific statistics in here. Either way, we saw in there that those statistics showed up on the Netflow collector. Now let's do the same thing on the SA next to configure the Netflow exporter. Which on the SA, let's try to do that from the SDM to begin with. So we go to, should be under configuration. So first step is to define the exporter. Should be under device management, I think, because it's a logging function. Logging and Netflow. So you can hear here we configure the collector. So I'm going to say add. To add a collector to be server A. Step number 1. Out on which interface is that collector reachable? Is going to be out on this interface, X0091, which is the ASA's server name of interface. What is the address? 172.16.10.100. What is the port? 9996. Okay, and we say apply. And the command is flow export to destination, server, the IP address, and the port number. So the command is a bit different than on the iOS, but it's the same steps and the same functionality. It's still the flow exporter configuration. And the last part is, of course, because we monitor to configure the SA to monitor something specifically, like which flows in there, is going to be done via MPF, which means it's going to be under configuration. MPF, it's a file configuration, and it should be under service policy rules, where the policy maps are applied. I'm going to make use of the default global policy applied. I'm going to say edit. I go to rule actions, Netflow tab. Only inspect rule can be specified for the default inspection traffic. No problem. I'm going to configure a new class map, of course. Yes, that's because for the default class map, class default, you can only put inspect actions. So we should state for that policy map, we should state add or if we click in here, service policy rule, we're gonna preserve. So I'm gonna add a new entry in the MPF part for the global for the global service policy applied. I'm gonna say next. The name of the class map is going to be, let's say, Netflow, name of the class map. And I want to get a statistics for all traffic. In my case, any traffic in there. I'm going to say next. And under Netflow, we should say add. And we add the collector. Flow event type. With the SA has a built-in set of pre-configured, let's say, set of statistics to be collected, like only for created sessions, for denied sessions, for updated sessions, or for torn down sessions. For which of those sessions do you want to get a statistics? So let's keep all of them, and we check the box in here to click send, to send all of the Netflow statistics gathered to that exporter. And we say OK. And we say finish. It complains that setting both syslog and Netflow could be redundant, because pretty much, and it makes sense, because pretty much because the ASA sends a log message for when it creates a session, when it tears down a session, when it drops a session, when it resets a session. It makes sense that sending both syslog and Netflow data, like the same kind of data, it is redundant. So that was the log message that it showed up in there when we send OK. If we say apply, now if we go on the SA, so show run equal flow to see the configuration. We've configured the exporter. Step number 1, show run class map. We've configured the class map named Netflow to match all traffic. And then under the global predefined policy map, we called in that class map, which matches on any traffic, and we said we want to get a statistics for all event types and send those statistics over to the configured exporter. So show service policy. Not sure if we can filter this out. Pretty much not. If you say show service policy, we see the class map on Netflow being attached in there. If you say show flow export counters, destination is server on that UDP port number and how many packets have been sent already to that it have been exported over to server A. So if we go back again now on server A, under the dashboard, and we go under, let's say, inventory, under inventory, we should also see ASA showing up in there. And there you go, it shows up, and it even knows it's a firewall. So it shows up in here, a new entry, because the IP of the SA is 172.168.10.1, and it shows up as a firewall in there. If we go under the dashboard again, or to see the statistics for ASA traffic, go under inventory and we click on the ASA. And we see in here the volume of the traffic which was sent through the ASA, 20 kilobytes. If we go under application, it says others. Let's generate some web traffic from server A, likewise to ICE again, which is going to be collected by ASA3 as close to 6 and send those over to the collector. Let's go on server A and open a session to ICE. That is being built. We should see more packets being sent. There we go, 14 packets being exported, 14 flow statistics being exported, 14 packets. We're not sure how many flow statistics in the end. Advanced, proceed to unsafe. Now if we go to back to our manage engine and we click the dashboard again, it doesn't seem to be refreshed. Let's say not last hour. Let's say last 30 minutes, which pretty much doesn't matter. In this case, it's going to be everything in there. If you go under inventory and we go again under the SA and let's look in the application part. Doesn't really tell what kind of application. Let's say protocol. So let's filter based on a protocol number, based on protocol. And let's say last 6 hours. Yeah, that doesn't really say the protocol for whatever reason this application, but at least we see that it works. So Netflow traffic statistics were exported from both the ASA and the IO successfully.